demonic angel, and today we're going to take a look at the Hermit card, the number 9 of the major arcana. So the number 9 is really close to completion. So 10 is really the actual, the height of the cycle, the true completion. But 9 is signifying that is, coming soon. So, this guy, we've got this really old gentleman, and he's obviously really old, so we can imagine that pretty soon he will pass into the next life because of his age. So his life has almost come to completion, but he still enjoys being here, and he's still very grounded through his staff to the earth. And so this really is this guy is really connected even though he's old. So the background of this card, there's really no clouds or mountains and things like we see in the other cards. This is just he's standing on top of snow. So really, he just is alone. And even though he doesn't have contact with anybody, he takes care of himself. And really what makes this happen for him is that, he's got this robe on, and it really is like, this is to signify that he is a spiritual person. So he's looking back in a way on his life about, maybe he's been married or had children, had his, job, and he's looking back on his life. And he sees the spiritual significance in all the different cycles and things that he's been through, because he knows that it was all worthwhile. And he is not disillusioned like an old man who is angry. And that kind of, some old people are like that kind of a figure. This is not him. He has seen the value in his life as he contemplates all matter. So even when he was younger, he did have this sort of introspective side to himself, which is definitely what this is, introspection, of course. The staff, the wand in his hand is, what basically all of us occultists and magicians, usually have at some point. And a wand is an extension of consciousness. And it's in his left hand, meaning like it's the subconscious, spiritual, emotional, realm, whereas you might say your right hand is more of a logical thing that is connected to the physical plane and that kind of thing. So he has this vast understanding of the subconscious spiritual world, and he takes his staff and he puts it in the ground, and it grounds him. And that's really what you do when you use a wand as well, and you use it in ceremonial magic. You take your consciousness and project it, but you got your feet planted in the earth, and it extends that consciousness. So then you say, I want this, or I think this, I wish this, and that really extends that consciousness. And it's through this grounding, when we use our wands. And when old people use canes, or that he's got a wand, he's grounded to the earth. He might be old, really old, but he is still grounded, and he's still present in the moment. He sees things pretty clearly in both a logical and emotional way, because this is a balanced gentleman. So he does know how to remain grounded and keep balanced. In his right hand, we've got this lantern. And so that is really, you know, most other readers I talk to say that the light is like the light of God. And that's just guiding his way. Like, he doesn't need anything else except the light of God. And that's a fine way to look at it, really. God is, to me, we could replace the word God with consciousness. And that is really fits well here, because in this lantern is the consciousness. And it really is this guide for this guy. So all he needs is his, you know, the divine light. He sees divinity in himself, and he's got basically divinity to keep him company. So he's not a lonely kind of solitary figure, obviously. He is fulfilled with his introspections, and the light of God and his staff are really all he needs. He almost reminds me of Moses, who, you know, lived to be really old, supposedly. So this wizard, lone figure, and I mean, really, that is what this is. So when you see this in your readings, upright, it is somebody who is removed themselves from the world for a while in some way to gain introspection. And they kind of, what sets this apart, because we see that in the tarot often, is that when they take this journey alone, they do it and they realize that materialistic things really aren't that important. Friends aren't everything. So they either start out the introspection understanding that, and they kind of, let's say, go camping for an extended period of time, or they just live in a simple apartment with just the essentials. Then they're really participating in living in the moment with just, you know, the bare necessities. That's what this hermit represents. And being able to, you know, be, let's say, content in the process of introspection. Being alone does not have to be lonely, and the hermit understands that. So that is who this really archetypal figure here is to me. So, and then of course ahead in the major arcana, there's going to be death, and there's going to be the tower, and all kinds of all kinds of obstacles, as if we want to put it that way. But one of the things that helps the Fool get through the death and the tower catastrophes is that, you know, the Fool has spent some time alone being introspective. So connected with this ancient wisdom is really what this guy is. That's why he's old, okay? And that's going to help the Fool later on, you know, through these catastrophes, as we say. So, reversed, this is really just, of course, a kind of an opposite, where somebody has, let's say, they've gone off by themselves, and they're just profoundly lonely. And they're not really getting anything from this at all. And then they drop, because they've dropped, let's say they lost their job. So now they can't blow all kinds of money on frivolous things. And they believe that now that is why that they're unhappy. So this period of being this hermit for them really has not brought them this ancient wisdom and this connection through introspection. It's really, they've misconnected that with thinking that that is what is really important, that they are lonely. Being alone means lonely. So in some way, this is this misguided introspection that really is anything reversed to represent so. And you look at the other cards, of course. This is just you know, that introspection where, you know, the things kind of go not right. They don't get the spiritual awakening from that, and that creates this lonely period of time. And so when they do return to the world, then they're likely, you know, it's likely to indulge or overindulge in materialistic physical things, because they believe that that is a huge part of their identity, or that is what is the totality of what makes them happy. And that, you know, that's going to be part of their life struggle, or that thing that they're going to have to go through for a period of time. So that would probably be reversed, what I see in this. I hope that helped a little bit. Basically, I just, even though there's still COVID going around, I spent some time with my younger cousins and just took a few days off. And then I was rearranging the lighting in my home, so sorry for the lighting, but I will get better lighting going on within the next video or two. And then just wanted to throw that out there. We'll continue with some Goetia, more tarot, and all the good stuff like that. Some topics I've been wanting to, you know, put out here. And also, I now have some videos for Patreon, or that, or I'm going to do an exclusive live stream. We'll see. But if you become my patron, you could have access to that, and it would be really cool. The links to that and my Twitter are below. Thank you so much.